Welcome, everyone, to the ADG podcast. I'm your host, Darren,
And I'm Jacob.
and we have a great brand new show for you this week. We have our first ever interview. We have a great musical guest joining us on the podcast today. Talk about her singing songwriting career. Plus, we have all your old favorites, headlines, top five, garbage person of the week, all that and more. Jacob, sir, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Darren, how are you?
I'm doing just dandy.
Awesome.
So,
There's some crazy stuff happening on online, and we keep sending each other some of these crazy stories, and I don't even want to talk about some of these. But you know what? Spice Girls are outdated. I don't even know why you're bringing this up to me right now. I'm reliving 1995 here, 96.
Exactly, but it was like so shocking, like to actually have someone admit this. And if for those of you who don't know, the Spice Girls, obviously huge musical influence on the '90s. You know, being the first ever girl group to really take the world by storm. One of the Spice Girls, Mel B, also known as Scary Spice, was on an interview with Piers Morgan, and they talked about her life in the Spice Girls, her relationships with all the other females in the group, and she brought up an interesting point where she actually had it. It was like a one night stand kind of thing with her fellow Spice Girl band member Jerry Halliwell, also known as Ginger Spice, and she admit this that they had a brief lesbian one night stand fling, and if you were to tell me that back then, I wouldn't believe you. But like something like this, yeah, it's kind of believable. But like Jake, just like wrap your head around it, like.
I don't want to, because personally, right now, that's just trying to stay relevant in the entertainment industry. It's like, oh, this happened 20 years ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there a scandal? No. Does anybody actually care? Not now. So it's just keeping yourself relevant.
I guess.
Is she on that show?
America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent that nobody watches. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but like that doesn't surprise me, because about Mel B, she's kind of the wild one, so that it doesn't really surprise me that she had a girl on girl thing with Ginger Spice. I just thought it was kind of like bizarre that you would actually admit that.
Well, yeah.
Publicly,
Again, it didn't just slip out. Okay, this didn't just slip out. This would have been more of a actual controversy if this was like 20 years ago.
Exactly. So, especially they are going to be set to be going back on tour. So
wow, look at the timing of that news.
Exactly, right? So I don't know if she's going to sing her love songs, or it's just going to be a constant thing throughout the tour. Who knows?
What a controversy. Can't wait for those questions during the tour. Oh, nobody cares.
Oh, so yeah. So that was that definitely gathered some attention when
from
that
Darren.
came out. Yeah, for me especially. Come on. You gotta think like, wow, something like that actually happens and they admit it. Good for them.
Yep. Nothing like publicity.
Hey, whatever works. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
That's right.
So,
and we'll get into more bad publicity later on in sports today. I got some cooking.
Oh, great.
But talking about publicity, you have more news that came out. One of our movies that you and I are actually waiting for release.
Yeah,
and that's Endgame.
Yes, Avengers Endgame, slated to come out April 28th, I believe. That's release date. And
so I'm taking your word for that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I gotta double check that, but I'm thinking it's towards the end of April. I'm sure everyone will correct me if I'm wrong. They announced the runtime for this movie, and it clocks in at 3 hours and 2 minutes, making it the longest running Marvel movie in Marvel Universe history.
It's not bad.
So, Jake, 3 hours and 2 minutes. Is it long enough? Is it still short?
Well,
is it still like?
I'd like to see about 3.5 hours.
Yeah, ideally, how long do you want this movie to be?
Oh, 3.5 hours for all the things that need to happen in it,
Yeah,
for the amount of characters,
right.
with the story development. I was hoping 3.5 hours, and people are probably freaking out, like, "Oh my god, like I need a break in the middle." No, it's a movie. If you're going to see that movie, you're expecting it to be, you know, really long with a lot of storytelling and a lot of
Mhm.
things happening in it. It has to be full of story development and things like that. And it's not really, if you look at it, not really that long of a movie. 3 hours. It's going to become a norm in the next couple years.
Right.
You know, it's there's been a lot movies that have been way longer than that. Like Godfather 2 was like 3.5 hours.
Hmm.
Lord of the Rings movies, if you look at the director's cuts, were like 3.5 hours, all of
Right.
them, if not longer. So it's just not really shocking that it's going to be that long. But hopefully they're able to tie in a lot of information in it.
Exactly. It's just what I was to say that Infinity War was about 2.5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and that pretty much has the same amount of cast and characters
Yep.
uh, that's in Endgame, with the addition of Captain Marvel and Ant
Right.
Man, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so extending it a half hour more, it just gives the diehard Marvel fans a little bit more to salvage, because who knows who's gonna make it to the end of the end game or who's not. So I
Yeah,
think,
like see who survives, see what happens, see how the
mhm,
story goes, and
yeah, because there are a lot of theories out there, and too many to go into now. But as we get closer to the premiere date, we'll try to give you as much information as we can.
oh, for sure. Whatever
Yeah.
we can dig up, it'll be on our Facebook page, which has been super active with stories, with information. We've been popping a whole bunch of news links on there on things happening, things we want to talk about. And
Exactly.
you guys are interacting, you guys are reading, checking them out. So that's good.
Mhm.
It helps us out.
Absolutely.
Hmm. So yeah, that's looking forward to that movie. There's another movie I'm looking forward to is the new Godzilla movie, but that's later on this spring. I think it's summer, something like that. I don't know the release date, but I'm excited for that one too.
They still make Godzilla movies.
Stop it.
I'm just saying that it's it's like, okay, how many times have you done this movie? Like,
Many.
I'm like, like, doesn't like Godzilla die in every single Godzilla movie?
No, 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 no.
No,
He
no.
no. It's Godzilla. He doesn't die. He just
He's
comes back. He's like the Undertaker in wrestling. He just returns.
oh yeah, so you're saying it's an old bit that they just rehash every 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens. He just doesn't have the whole walking down the aisle for 35 minutes thing. He just appears and shoots lasers out of his mouth.
No,
Things
he
like that.
oh, okay. So the difference, so the similarities between Undertaker and Godzilla, that they both walk very slow.
Very slow.
Yeah, I
And
have I
you and I have
I
been to a WrestleMania before.
yes, yes. I
Yeah, a lot
I
of wrestling events. We've
I
seen
have
him
yet
live.
I've yet to see a fast moving Godzilla. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he gets the job done
Very slowly.
very slowly, just like the Undertaker gets the job done very slowly. But no, there's two Godzilla movies coming out. One this year, I think one next year. This year's Godzilla movie, and the next year's Godzilla versus Kong. So for
Oh,
anybody actually, for those three people that actually watched the Kong movies, there will be a crossover with Godzilla. So there you go. There's a
oh
little tidbit of
god.
information right there. So
I,
there you go.
I I'm pretty sure The Rock will have a part in it somehow. He'll
Somehow,
be,
yeah,
you
he,
know,
he puts himself everywhere. And he has a new movie coming out actually.
which movie is that?
Um, that spin-off from Fast and the Furious.
Oh yeah, the Shaw and Hobbs, I think
Yeah,
is
that looks awful.
yeah,
I
but
don't want to see that.
no, but that's just them keeping the Fast and the Furious franchise alive and well.
Unfortunately, unfortunately,
So unfortunate
yeah,
that.
no,
But
that's
sp-
awful.
but speaking of colossal big big animals that we're talking about, Impact Wrestling just came into Windsor this past weekend and at St. Clair College, and to do a couple of TV tapings. I was lucky enough to be part of it as working it as a camera operator, and I must admit I don't know a lot about the characters of Impact Wrestling or the storylines or anything like that, but I would say I was pretty impressed with the amount of talent and entertainment, the sheer entertainment of all these wrestlers that performed this past weekend.
So yeah, you're telling me about that this weekend, and you mentioned that Johnny Nitro. Oh, excuse me, John Morrison is the
Yeah,
champion now.
yeah. He was Johnny Nitro. He was John Morrison. Now he's Johnny Impact.
Impact. That's right.
He's Johnny
Oh,
Impact.
God. Yeah,
Yes,
whatever keeps him off for live TV, I'm okay with.
Exactly, and he's the current champion of the organization. So he's kind of riding high. He still has the same look. The big jacket, the sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The big hair.
The big hair. He's got the 8-pack. And I'm like, yep, he does the high flying crazy moonsaults off the top rope, all that.
So he was one of the first Tough Enough competitors, wasn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, from
I
WWE.
believe so. Yeah. I the only thing I remember about Tough Enough is the guy that won got demolished by the Undertaker. I think. I forget his name was
Maven.
Maven. That's right. Yes,
Oh,
or something.
That goes
like that.
back. That goes back a bit.
That goes back way back in the
When
day.
I actually paid a lot of attention to wrestling.
Man, now it's at its peak season because WrestleMania is right around the corner,
Yes.
and all these other wrestling promoters are trying to they're putting together their big event to make everything in New York because that's where WrestleMania is happening. To have their own individual events in New York and New Jersey as well.
Yep,
So it's a
leech
big
off the big company. That's right.
Exactly. It's a big WrestleMania weekend. It's a Super Bowl of wrestling. I believe in 2 weeks. So that's going to be fun for all those diehard wrestling fans out there.
And we will not be doing a wrestling recap on this show.
No, unfortunately
Sorry.
not.
No, those days are over, people.
Exactly. And besides, I think our listeners would rather listen to you talk about a garbage person or a great top 5.
Yeah, my spinner belt's retired.
Your spinner belt's retired? That thing was such a classic.
It's hanging on the wall.
Oh, it's in your office, huh?
That's right.
That's it. Good times.
Yeah. So you know what? Let's transition from that to our top 5.
Top 5.
Top 5, no debating. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
All right. So today's top 5. I'm like, you know what? I kicked the habit for the past year and a half of drinking pop and energy drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm thinking, you know what? Give you some insight in my top 5 to what's in some of these drinks. I'm thinking how much sugar and fructose is in this stuff. So I got a list of top 5.
Right.
Highest fructose and total sugar drinks, soda, pop. You guys can buy it. So here's my top 5. I will start at number 5 with out of these 5, the one with the least fructose, and least sugar. And some of this might be surprising. Let me know what you think.
All right.
So number 5, Coca-Cola. Out of these 5, that's the least fructose and sugar.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, are we talking just regular Coca-Cola?
Regular Coca-Cola per liter has 105 grams of sugar.
Wow.
In the liter. Yeah.
Wow. And that's small compared to the rest of your list?
Right, because Sprite has just as much, and that's number 4.
Wow.
So if you're thinking, I'm going to drink Sprite instead of Coke, it might have less sugar. No, exactly the same. Exactly the same fructose, exactly the same sugar.
Right.
Number 3, this might be surprising. This has more sugar and fructose than Sprite and Coke. Pepsi.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Pepsi has more sugar.
Yeah.
109 grams per liter.
Wow.
How the sugar?
Jeez.
Oh, it gets worse because
Uh,
number 2 is some people's favorite.
Hmm.
More fructose and more sugar than Pepsi, Sprite, and Coke. Mug root beer.
A mug root beer.
Yep.
Jeez.
114 grams sugar per.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah, but it's not as bad as the number 1.
Number 1.
And I'm going to hype this one up. It's the gaming choice. The gamer's choice is a community choice. Mountain Dew.
Yes. Do the do.
121 grams of sugar per liter. Kidding me right now.
Well, I was gonna say for those, if you drink Mountain Dew, you got to be either like a hardcore gamer or just someone that's got to stay up at like NORAD, for like 72 hours.
Right, but we have energy drinks right now that can kind of like offset this whole Mountain Dew thing because some of these energy drinks are 0 calorie, but with a lot of other crap in it.
Yeah, there's 0 calorie, or they say 0 sugar, but they have all other bad shit in it. Like I remember years ago, like when I went to college, the thing that I would drink is the NOS energy drink. You remember?
Yes.
You remember this?
That's when I gave up when I was drinking NOS about a year and a half ago.
Exactly. It was in this blue bottle, and then it had this orange cap on it. It looks like it had this weird, funky orange cap on it, and it tasted like orange juice, but like on a super sugary sonic level. It was, and I had one of them, and my heart would be like rapidly beating, crazy fast. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need this.
Wait, did you say you went to college?
Yeah, weren't we in the same class?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
We covered that in the episode. All right.
Yeah.
So that's my top 5. All right, Darren. I think it's time to do our musical feature for the week.
Musical feature of the week. Episode 7 we are in.
Episode,
here.
That's right. So we're going to do this. We're going to do something special. We're going to do something different.
Yes.
I think we're going to have someone with us live.
So it's always good to actually interview the musical guests.
Isn't it?
So we get a little background on what they, how they think of their songs and what drives them to perform and embrace their musical talents. Right,
exactly. It's better to hear directly from the artist than just us talking nonsense about their awesome music that they always give us. It's just how it is. It's better. So on the line with us today, and I hope I don't butcher their name because you know me, from the immigrant land, my language isn't the greatest. So with us on the line directly from Toronto, Jessica Speziale.
Hey guys,
did I get that right?
You got that.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
Awesome. I know things. Yay.
Hooked on phonics.
As soon as you said immigrant land, I was like, oh, he's going to get it.
Yeah. I'm trying my best. I'm trying. Oh, welcome to the ADG podcast. So wonderful to have you on with us to share your talent.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, for those who haven't listened to the podcast and are joining us for the first time, Jacob reaches out to artists that I've talked to previously through some of the stuff I do. And I figured, you know what? This week, we have such an opportunity to feature a couple of songs from this amazing artist. And Jess was willing to submit a couple of her songs and come on with us live. So, Jess, quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When did you feel that music was the way to go?
Oh my gosh. You know what? It's been forever. Since I was super, super young, I've been you couldn't stop me from singing, but really taking it in, looking at it more like something that I had to do, like there was really no option for me, was about 8 years ago. And I picked up a guitar that was collecting dust under my bed, and I wrote 2 songs, and I was like, oh my God, like I haven't felt this good in forever. So it was a really magical moment. And it's funny because I was talking to my dad about it. My dad's a musician as well, and so is my mom. They met in a band. And
nice.
I was talking to him about how it didn't feel like I really had a choice. Like the music's just going to come out of me no matter what. And he was like, yeah, you don't really have a choice. And I was like, okay, then I'm going to, take this bull by the horns and let's do this.
Jess, you said that both your parents are musicians. They met in a band. So it's safe to say that they were the inspiration for your musical talents?
100%. Yeah, it's all thanks to my parents. And, them being musicians and having musicians around the house all the time really just fostered a really organic love for music. Mm-hmm. It was just something that we did. I didn't even realize that not everybody who played music could actually sing in tune until I was 10.
Now, follow up to that question, did they also inspire you to have the style that you have?
Yeah.
You are a rocker.
I am.
I know.
And it's
rare
funny because
nowadays.
It is rare nowadays. It's true. And it's just me. Basically, it resulted in me chasing the type of music that gives me that rush of adrenaline. Like when a great guitar riff kicks in or an incredible heavy drum hit with like lots of ride, I can't not go ballistic. I just completely lose it. It's like this energy rush in my body. So I was like, okay, well, obviously I have to play rock music. I tried a whole bunch of different styles, and my parents are really they were a really interesting mix of music. My mom is a soul singer, and my dad is a rocker. So they were teaching me sort of independently the different music that they loved, and we get their records out and listen to them, and they loved that. They loved that I loved listening to what they loved listening to. So my dad was like all like prog rock, and my mom was all soul and funk. And then I ended up really shifting between those two styles as I started to learn myself as a musician, and then I landed on modern rock music.
And you know what? That's awesome. And you know what we should do? Mm-hmm. We should show our audience. We should let them listen to one of your tracks. Amazing. How about we play for them one of your singles that was recently released? We'll start with The Feels.
Sounds good.
From someone who's seen this video, you're actually going to understand visually and with the sound what we're just talking about. We're going to play that right now. Here's The Feels.
I've been gone for a very, very, very long time. Married to the road, I know every inch of it by heart. Me and you, we blow kisses on the wind whenever we're apart. And I know at the end of the road, find your eyes. We got feels, something real. Met other places and none of the faces, nothing replaces the love that will make it. We got feels. My spirit's a wanderer and she got to go. She craves every inch of these lands from blue to blue to blue. And now when I'm missing you, we're howling at the same moon. My spirit's a wanderer, but my heart she won't. We got feels, something real. Yeah, met other places and none of the faces, nothing replaces the love that will make it. We got feels. Step after step after step after wanderlust, beat after beat after beat after beat. My heart step after step after step after wanderlust, beat after beat after beat after beat.
All right. So that was The Feels. Hope you guys enjoyed that track. That's the video's crazy. We're gonna put it up on our social media later today.
Thank you, guys.
Darren's gonna swoop in and post that thing everywhere.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and that was just our first track of today, of this interview.
Great. So, Jess, I was looking at your Instagram page earlier before we started this interview, and I noticed that you put out a lot of your covers and your original songs out there for people to view and listen. In this day and age, where being noticed on social media, Instagram, by record companies and producers is becoming more and more popular. What makes you think? What makes you stand out apart from the other ones?
Sure. That's a really good question. Good one. I really think I've always thought that, music is about communicating, and it's about communicating with other people. So for me, I do social predominantly. I mean, it's amazing that our industry really does gravitate to the performers that are using social media well as well. But the fans do too. And I've always been really interested in entertaining music lovers. And so I just love being able to connect directly with so many different music lovers on social media. So I keep going back. And I think that the thing that makes a band or an artist stand out is really that combination that they're offering the audience. So for me, I think people come and hang out with me on social because we like the same music. We all like rock. And then we love just hanging out together because we're similar people. And something that's great about music is that personality shines through so well. And it tells so many great stories. And so I think what makes me stand out, I guess, is that connection that I have with such a great group of people on social. And I welcome everybody to come check it out, come hang out with us. Because, making music, taking requests, trying things out, making mistakes. I mean, oh my gosh, I do a live stream every Sunday on Instagram and on Facebook. And I play people's requests. And I don't necessarily know the song that well. And so we have a good laugh, So, and I think that's really the magic is that communication in that community.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you did mention you do a live stream on Instagram and on Facebook, but didn't you recently do a tour? Was it earlier this year?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
How did that go?
Great tour with another Toronto-based band called Across the Board. They're phenomenal, and we got together and did a tour across Southern Ontario last summer. Nice. Oh my God, it was so much fun, and it went great. There's just something about, I'm a travel junkie to begin with, so when I get to travel and make music and meet really cool people at the same time, I'm living the dream, hashtag. Mm-hmm. So, but it went fabulous. And so I'm really excited because we're looking into doing it again, and going back to all those same cities and seeing everybody again and just building on what we created last summer. It was fabulous. Great music. We met a lot of great artists because we always want to have an artist from the area come and join us. And yeah, the audience really dug it. We had some people that actually followed us around and came to multiple dates on the tour. So that was super dope.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's excellent. We love tours. We don't get too many where we are. We're kind of far out of the way in Southern Ontario, but we get a few. So if you ever get down to the very end of Southern Ontario, Windsor area, hit up your boys on the A to G podcast.
You bet.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to make a point for us to come there then.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a lot of venues. Yeah,
we have a lot of venues, small ones, big ones, obviously, and there's a little bit of everything for everyone's different types of music. We have the Fog that does everything from hard rock to punk rock to everything in between there. So something like that would love to have you. But Jess, let me ask you this: if you like you said, you've been playing music your whole life, your parents were musicians as well. What kind of advice or yeah, advice you would you give to someone that's just is thinking about writing their own songs or playing their own instruments? Like, what kind of advice would you give that person?
I would tell them to please stop thinking about it and just start doing it. Um, you're going to make a million mistakes along the way. Some of them you're going to love for a little bit and then look back on and think, oh God, that was a mistake. But a lot of it is, it's art. So mistakes are beautiful and the magic is within them. So get out there, start making stuff, start writing, start playing your, okay, let me just put it into context. So I started writing music and I could barely play the guitar, but my dad was like, his advice to me was, you have to learn an instrument so that you can communicate the songs that you're writing to the audience, to someone else that you'd like to help you play that song. They need to understand the basic structure. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just as a communication tool. So I was like, okay. So I get up there, I start playing these songs to my friends. I get a show magically, play a show, and we packed the house because it was just, it was my first show. I was so excited. And I played absolutely terribly. My voice was probably pretty good, but my guitar work is horrendous at this point. And you know what? It didn't matter because it communicated the songs, and it was a great launching pad to keep doing it. Right. And so I would say, and now with social media, with us able to connect from our homes across a screen is kind of amazing. So get your phone out, make some videos. Nothing has to be fancy. You don't have to buy a lot of gear. Just start playing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. That's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jake.
Go for it.
Well, I was gonna say, you said that you just picked up the pen to start writing. What kind of songs do you like to write the most? Love songs, breakup songs, or just whatever you're feeling?
So awesome. I love, I don't have one particular story that I like to lean on. For a while, I was like, oh my gosh, definitely unrequited love songs. Love those. But there's so many stories in life that I just like to think that I write life songs at this point. Because it's just that kernel of energy. If you have some kind of energy that makes you kind of go, oh, take note of that, that could be a good song. So that's worth working through.
Right. Is it a lot of these songs that you write, are they like your life experiences, or it's just, it could be anyone's life?
It can be anyone's life. A lot of them are mine. A lot of them are mine, but then I flip them and I'm looking at them from the other person's perspective. And some of them are stories that people have told me, that people that I'm connected to emotionally, that I empathize with. And then I am moved by their story, and then I'll write something on that topic as well.
Very good.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, now let's do our second video song here. I think we'll do Wildfire. And
Great.
You know what? Contrast to the first song that we played, when we share this video, you guys will see we really rocked out on the first track we shared on the fields. Wildfire rocks it out just as much, but the video is really cool. How did you get the concept for it?
Thanks. Yeah, I worked with my producers and video team, whom I love dearly, MC2 Music Media, and we were sitting around having a coffee and just sort of like, okay, what's the story of this song? Like, how do we sort of communicate this? And something that this song is really all about, and it ties in really nicely to my advice to new musicians, is just about, trusting your voice, getting out there, just doing it, and not worrying too much about what other people are thinking. But there's also this underlying current of emotion where it's like, I am putting on a persona for this particular person in the song, and I'm pondering that and wondering how useful that is. And so we were like, wouldn't it be super cool if the character was going through a whole bunch of memories and then fell into the pictures. And so we started thinking about that. And then when we get in there, when you get into the heat of the video moment, sometimes you got to let the art sort of take you away a little bit. And so there was a lot of spontaneity in filming this video as well. We had this overarching concept, but we didn't have necessarily like a set shot list. We had some ideas, and then we allowed the setting, which is all over Toronto, really inspire us as well as to what we could do. And it was a blast. It was like being on a big make-believe date on a hot summer night.
It does look like that. It's a great video. It really draws you in. It's like you're following a story.
Awesome.
It's really nicely done, definitely. And you know what? We're going to play it right now. So here's a Wildfire.
Hands tied behind my back, face down on the floor. Honey, this is nothing new. Saying this time's for lines are drawn, the sun is down, trying to ignore fire burning in my eyes. Don't feel like this no more. Gotta get out of here. Gotta get out. I'm wild by sweet July, colder and bright. Summer nights, purple skies, strawberry wine. I'm your candy girl, locked inside your perfect world. Whoa. You'll never see me when I'm down. When I'm down, yeah. When I'm drowning, you're on fire. Can't see me through the haze. I know you like me when I'm hot. A breeze to fuel the flames. Ooh, stuck under this burning ash. Can't get out of here. I need a little of that spark. Still smoke just fills the air. Gotta get out of here. Gotta get out. I'm wild by sweet July, colder and bright. Summer nights, purple skies, strawberry wine. I'm your candy girl, locked inside your perfect world. Whoa. You'll never see me when I'm when I'm down. Burning, heating love, burning, light me up. Wildfire, sweet July, colder and bright. Summer nights, purple skies, strawberry wine. I'm your candy girl, locked inside your perfect world. I'm your candy girl, locked inside your perfect world. I'm your candy girl, locked inside your perfect world. Whoa, never see me when I'm down.
All right, everyone, that was Wildfire. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Again, we're going to post that video on our socials. So anytime you guys want to check that out, share some views, share some opinions, comments, likes, lots of likes. And it's going to be great. So a couple last questions before we go here. So what's next? What are we doing this year with the music? What's going on?
Yeah, this year is shaping up to be very exciting. I am really excited to tour again. So starting to plan an Ontario tour. And I'm really starting to put some feelers out for across Canada as well. I have not yet done the cross Canada. I have crossed Canada a few times and gone to BC to tour. So we'll definitely be back in BC and playing on the Via Rail train across the country, which is unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I want to get into every province this year. That is sort of the goal. Another thing that I'm super into is collaborations. So I have a lot of fun guests coming on my live stream, Sunday Tunes, and also a whole bunch of videos that I'm looking forward to putting out with a bunch of incredible artists this year.
That sounds exciting, and we're all going to keep track of what's going on and what you're doing. We're all going to support and share the ADG podcast. You know, we support, we show the love.
You guys, thank you so much.
So now, where can our listeners find all of your stuff besides us sharing it on our Facebook and Instagram and everything else? Where can we find you directly?
Yeah, my website is jessicaspeziale.ca. That's Speziale. And you can find me on Instagram at SpezSings, SpezSings, and on Facebook at Jessica Speziale Music, and YouTube at Jessica Speziale.
That is excellent stuff. And again, we're going to share all of that. But just in case somebody's listening in the car, I want to save it for later. Well, there you go. There's all your information. We appreciate you coming on the pod with us and sharing your thoughts and background.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sharing your music with the people. Oh, we appreciate it so much. And I hope everyone enjoyed all the music we played today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Really a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks a lot, Jess.
Well, thank you, and we'll talk soon.
We will.
All right, Darren. What do we got in sports today?
Oh, we have a action-packed day in sports for those who want to know. A lot of breaking news, especially this morning. Before we recorded this episode, it was all over social media on Twitter. Infamous entertainer / athlete / Irish spokesperson Connor Mcgregor announced on Twitter that he is retiring from mixed martial arts, and out of the blue. So, Jake, I got to ask you, are you buying it?
Nope.
No.
Nope, not at all. Well, the guy made millions of dollars in his last fight. Hasn't fought a lot in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. He is just, again, more show. This is just all show. This is all attention grabbing, all being relevant in what's happening now. He's now retired, and he's going to come back for one last fight. He's going to go, retired, and then come back for one last fight. Make $20 million again. Retire, come back, one last fight, another $20 million. Beat up another person in the street. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So, but do you see him let's say he's leaving mixed martial arts, but he goes to box and maybe has a rematch with Floyd Mayweather? Not
gonna happen.
You don't think so, huh?
No.
I think he ends up in a boxing ring somewhere. I think he finds someone, either maybe he fights Pacquiao, maybe he fights Floyd.
Well, if the money was, he'll do anything if the money's right. If they pay him in $40 million, he's gonna go.
Because the first Mayweather McGregor fight made so much money for them.
Oh, it's
obviously
insane.
For him, I think it'd be crazy for them not to do it again.
Yeah.
And
true. They're not getting younger, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not, especially Floyd. But speaking of retirement, New England's Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement from the National Football League.
Now, let's remind everybody he's only 30 years old.
Exactly, but he accomplished a lot in his brief NFL career. 3 Super Bowl rings, going down history as one of the most lethal tight ends in NFL history. So my question is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
He's the best at his position at a period in time. And if you're the best at your position at any certain period of time, then you're definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Because you think of all the top tight ends that were ever to play the game. You got your Tony Gonzalez, you got your Antonio Gates, and you got to put Rob Gronkowski in that class.
For sure.
So obviously that's it. All right, so Jake, March Madness is fully underway. The first 2 rounds are in the books. Both Michigan and Michigan State have made it to the Sweet 16, which started on Thursday. Yes. Michigan State takes on LSU, and Michigan takes on Texas Tech. So, Jake, who do you see advancing out of these 2 teams? Who do you see making it further? Michigan or Michigan State.
So you have both teams, number 2 seeds playing number 3 seeds. I'm looking at Michigan, Texas Tech. Michigan, if they play tough ball like they did, keep putting up points, keep the other team down, keep their scoring down, play good defense, they can get through Texas Tech, but it's going to be probably their hardest game of the tournament. LSU, Michigan State struggled, has been struggling, and they pull it out in the end, but I don't know. LSU's a tough team. They play to the very end really hard, and it's going to be, I don't know, this could be an upset here, but, hopefully Michigan State survives because LSU is going to go at them. And then you're looking forward to the next game. If they survive, they got to play Virginia Tech or Duke, probably Duke.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't think they're getting past that because if Michigan wins, they got to Gonzaga or Florida State. And
right, there you
I
go.
can't even pick the winner there because Florida State's been playing really well.
Well, one game at a time. And he talked about LSU. LSU just squeaked by Maryland in their last round game to get into the Sweet 16. Just beating them on a last-second shot.
Yeah.
So LSU isn't world beaters. I'm not saying that Michigan, are rolling. Obviously, they kind of had a tough time with Bradley to start the tournament.
Bradley,
but, yes, exactly. But they found their routine in the next round, advancing to the Sweet 16. So yeah, I think it's going to be two great matchups. I think Michigan is hitting its stride right now. 2 games, we could say pretty decisive wins. So I think Texas Tech is going to give them a tough matchup, and I think that's going to be a very close game. Maybe that'll be decided by a last-minute bucket as well.
Yeah, it might be. It could be a close game.
And also, if you watch March Madness, you had to be shaking in your boots if you had Duke winning this tournament because they just squeaked out, and I mean squeaked out a win against University of Central Florida.
Yeah, I watched that whole game.
God.
It was a great game. Taco Falls,
Yes.
7'6" center for Florida there. Oh man, insane athlete right there. Insane.
When you see him, they're double teaming him, and he just puts his hand up, and he still had plenty of room just to throw him the ball, and he just put it in the basket.
Yeah, you can't defend them. That's insane, impossible.
You can't coach height, and that's basically it.
That's right. That was a crazy game, but do I think the better team won? Probably. But on 2 tries at the end of the game, Florida could have put them away.
Right.
Oh, but they didn't.
Exactly. And another side note before we wrap with sports is Thursday is that the Tigers kick off the 2019 MLB regular season. They're going to be on the road taking on our beloved Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, I said our beloved Toronto Blue Jays. We say that because we are Canadian and it's the only Canadian team in the league. So
sure.
So there you go.
Go with that.
It's Detroit versus Toronto on Thursday. Jordan Zimmerman will get the start, and who knows? This is going to be a craptacular season, but
awful.
Hey, it's baseball.
That's great though. Yeah, we're rebuilding. Who cares?
Exactly.
Doesn't matter right now. No, it doesn't matter at all. But okay, so going off some of that March Madness, I have a story for you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Have you heard of? Have you been paying attention to the news at all about like Stormy Daniels, who that is, or Michael Avenatti?
Yeah, she's the porn star that had sex with the not yet president of the United States.
That's not my point right now, though. Let's go to the lawyer, Michael Avenatti, who represented her at one point. He was just arrested, actually.
Oh.
For trying to shake down Nike for $20 million. Because, and this is tying with the NCAA, he said that, well, he was trying to blackmail him by going public because he says he has proof that Nike was bribing coaches to recruit to Nike-sponsored college teams.
Wow.
Yeah. So we know Adidas got charged with that earlier a couple of years ago, but now he's saying that Nike's doing the same thing. Okay, people, we all know that high school players and college players have to get something. They just don't play out of the goodness of their heart or for their future most of the time to get into the NBA.
Right.
You know, they get clothes, they get sponsorship. They should. They should. Right now, it's illegal for them to do it. The NCAA frowns upon that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your opinion, Darren, on giving high school or college players funding for them to
Well,
play their sport?
Well,
Choice.
it's kind of a slippery slope because you see it all in amateur sports that, let's say if you're an athlete that is an amateur athlete who's
Mhm.
training for the Olympics, you get paid to train for the Olympics,
Yes.
right? So you're getting funding to hone your skills and perfect your craft. But when it comes to university, uh, they pay you in education. We're giving you a free education, room and board, and all you gotta do is, play for our team.
Right.
Obviously, obviously the NCAA has regulations where you have to have a certain grade point average, to continue to play for their team. Now, obviously, if you're a superstar like Zion Williams,
Mhm.
Williamson,
Listen.
you're going to get a little special treatment, a little leeway from your professors, etc. But
Right.
but but I think that do I think student athletes should be paid? Yes, because if you look at the university that are making so much money off just tickets and merchandise
Hundreds of
and
millions of dollars.
ridiculous amounts
Yeah.
of money, and you look at the coaches of these teams making multi-million
Yeah.
dollars, like Tom Izzo,
2, 3, 4, $5 million per coach. Football,
easily,
basketball. Yeah.
easily.
The
Mike
mainstream
Krzyzewski's
sports. Yep.
easily making $5 to $10 million
Harbaugh in
at Duke.
Michigan. You know what I mean?
Exactly. All on the backs of these players.
Right.
So I really don't blame them when they leave school early to turn professional.
Right.
If they're making all this money off them, why shouldn't they get a cut of it?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I'm all for it too. And I think it should be mainly based on merchandise sales, like the pros. So if
Yeah.
your university selling jerseys with your name on it, or
Mhm.
your number on it, or your likeness, yeah,
Yeah.
you should be getting a percentage of that. Definitely.
Exactly.
They're selling your image to better themselves and the school, so you should be getting a cut of that.
These student athletes, they can't receive anything from anyone. They have to have a receipt for everything that they own. If they buy a pair of shoes, they have to show the receipt because they're constantly NCAA people walking around. It's like, where'd you get this? Do you have a
Yeah.
receipt for this?
And
They're
yeah,
constantly
exactly.
hounding them. So, and being a student athlete, it would be very tough because not only do you have to put up with like practice and games and working out, you have school on top of that. And if you're not the world's most diligent student, you have to have have tutors and extra classes to get caught up.
Right.
It's a constant grind for these kids who are in school trying to get trying to get an education, but also kind of have to be a full-time athlete. You know, they don't have enough time. There's not enough hours in a day to do both.
And don't get us wrong, it's not like anybody on the Alabama football team is going to class to get anything. It's not exactly an academic school.
Right.
And it's not like they exactly, are successful in their graduates. That's more of a turnaround school for NFL players. So it's
Yeah.
not like they're all graduating with degrees over there. But most of the other schools are trying to get their student athletes. And not everybody on a football team is going to the NFL.
Exactly.
Three or
Exactly.
four guys per year, maybe. The team
Exactly.
has, hundreds
Yeah.
with walk-ons and practice squads and all that other stuff. So yeah, it's something interesting, something to look at, something they should look into the next few years. So that's that. That's that. Now you know what? Let's finish this off by going into garbage person of the week.
Garbage person of the week.
And I'm a little late on this one because our shows have been jam-packed. They have been. They've been really good shows. A
They've
lot of
been pretty
information.
good.
Yeah, things.
Especially now we had that great interview today.
Yes,
On
rocked
the
it
show.
out today.
That's fantastic. So
Yep.
hopefully we expect more people to get in contact with us, and we'll still be out on the hunt for other great interviews to bring you. So
That's right. And we're still cooking up a whole bunch of stuff for you guys.
yeah.
So just
Oh yeah.
keep listening to the shows, and you'll see what happens. But our garbage person of the week, I've been saving last couple weeks.
Ooh.
Okay, I'm a big fan of this show this person is on, and if you know me and you know the memes I've been posting, you'll know this person because Aunt Becky fucked up. She did. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you watched Full House, the actress who played Aunt Becky, or even Fuller House,
Yes.
Lori Loughlin. Yeah. She's charged with paying a $500,000 bribe to get her daughters into USC. Just to get them in. Yeah. And this goes beyond just her. There's other people that did it that are also indicted in this admission scam. Really? These are rich people, though.
I was gonna say, like, what makes you even think that? Let's say if you're a normal person, don't have rich parents or famous parents, and you just have to work your ass off to get perfect grades, high SAT score, and you still get screwed out of your top school choice.
And these are people who have kids who obviously are very well off. Don't have to do anything except study or focus. They don't have to think about where their next meal is going to be or if their parents can afford things. Right. These are well-off people whose kids should be focusing on, if they want to, obviously, they don't force anybody to go. But if they want to go to university, focus on that. You have nothing else to worry about. You guys are well off. You got money. If you have $500,000 to bribe, people at USC to get in, you have enough money for everything else. Holy shit. You shouldn't. Your kids should be, if you could put them in university, focus on that. And not only that reason why this person's the garbage person of the week. It kind of includes her and her daughters, because what comes out is the kids don't even want to go.
Exactly.
They didn't care. They don't care. They don't want to study. They don't want to do the work. They're just there because they were told to go.
Well, they just want the typical college experience, the parties, to have fun, get drunk and don't go to class. Yeah. But I think her daughter is also what they call Instagram influencer. So she has a big Instagram following, and she makes money through that. I don't know what else she does. She talks about makeup products and stuff like that. So
it seems like super hard work. Like
exactly
podcasting.
Right. You really have to know a lot about that.
But yeah, so to summarize, really, if you have enough money to bribe people to get your kids into college, does that show that you just didn't communicate with your kids or don't give a shit about their opinion or know your kids to see that they might not be a fit to go to actual universities?
Or maybe they're not, smart enough to go to university, like you said, or maybe it's the clout that they have to have. It's like, oh, I went to the University of Southern California.
My kid's at USC right now doing whatever. Yeah, okay, sure. But you know what? All in all, Aunt Becky, being such an influence on a show like you were,
Uncle Jesse would be ashamed of you. Uncle Jesse would be ashamed of you.
You should be a better inspiration to
I know.
all the people watching your show.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of people rewatching this show right now on Netflix because it's up on Netflix, and Fuller House is on Netflix too. And not setting a good example. You're really not. And not like big shot actress here. You are doing Lifetime movies and whatever. Well, not anymore because you just got dumped by them.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see her around in any Lifetime movies.
I think you're doing just fine. Having if you can afford dropping $500,000 on your kids just to go to school, going through all that trouble, you and everybody else who did it, just makes you look like garbage. And this week's Garbage Person of the Week.
That's the coolest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again? Do you have time?
There we go. That's that. So, if you guys have any input on anything we covered today, any feedback on our music feature and our interview, everything will be posted on our socials, our Facebook, our Twitter, Instagram, all over the place. We'll be linking to everything, posting videos, posting some of these news stories. If you have anything to tell us, you can email us, adgpodcast@gmail.com. Message us through any of our socials. We're here. Check out the YouTube channel, which has been picking up lately. Check it out at ADG Podcast. Give us some likes, some shares, things like that. And any questions or ideas, hit up that Facebook page, ADG Podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the show. So for ADG Podcast, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Darren.
And we'll see you guys later.